Hello, and welcome again to Oscar Mike Radio. Thank you for checking me out. Oscar Mike Radio is part of the Hubazoo Network. You can find out more on hubazoo.com. It's a small world. I didn't believe that for many, many years. It's a big place, a big ball of dirt we're on. But believe it or not, I am sitting to your left on the screen here, to a gentleman who lived in and served from the same town that I did, from Shreveport, Louisiana. Danny Zain. Oh my God, I got your name wrong.
Okay, that's okay. It happens all the time.
Zainaloti.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cut that out because I need to show you that I make mistakes. Zainaloti, welcome to Oscar Mike Radio. And Emma Gutierrez.
Yes.
Whew. I got that right. All right. It's like I do know what I'm doing. Why are we here? We're here today because I got kind of told, but asked by Paula to talk to Danny about a film he put out. And I couldn't watch the film, but we're talking about it. And, I emailed you, Danny, and you kind of told me what this is all about. And I'm like, I'm in for many, many reasons. I'm in. I just, tell us about this film, We Got Your Six, and what that means. Let's start with that.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. But yeah, so the film actually follows four veterans as they're troubled with PTSD and they're very closed off. And it follows them as they embark on an experimental type of group counseling session. I actually wrote this film a while back, but because it was so emotional to me, I decided I wasn't going to do it. Now, like many others, I've lost friends that were due to PTSD. And unfortunately, it's just happened so much that, you just, oh, wow, I'm sorry to hear that, and just go about your day. What motivated me to actually do this film was in February, I had two more of my brothers that I served with kill themselves 2 weeks from each other. And the group was just starting to heal from the first one, and then the second one happened. And then that's when I thought, I have to do something else than just share a post saying, hey, remember 22 a day, do something, trying to let, veterans know it's okay to go out and speak to somebody, so that's pretty much what the film is about and the motivation behind it.
Emma, before we go back to, how Danny, served in the military, how did you get involved with this project?
So, Danny had actually gotten in contact with us through Facebook and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. And when I saw that, I really thought this is something that I can do, that I really want to do and support.
Awesome. So Danny, tell me a little bit about yourself. Did you grow up in Shreveport? Did you join from Shreveport? What was your military experience like?
So I moved down to Shreveport when I was 13. My father worked for General Motors. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York. We moved down when I was 13. He got laid off in New York and got his job back down here. From here, I lived in Shreveport for 1 year. Then I moved to Wascom, Texas, and did my high school time. Now, Wascom, Texas, about 20 minutes from Shreveport. It's just over the border.
Yep.
And I joined the Texas National Guard when I was 17 years old. I was still in high school. I went to basic training after my junior year in high school. I came back, finished out my senior year while doing weekend drills at my National Guard unit. And then I went back and finished AIT. My training was infantry training.
Okay.
I graduated the top of my class of infantry, 11 Charlie School, mortar school, the exact day Iraq invaded Kuwait. So a couple weeks later, I got a call from my unit saying, hey, they're taking volunteers that are willing to go out to Desert Storm. Are you willing to go? At the time, I'm like 18, I'm scared and everything, but I'm like, well, yeah. In February of 1991, I got orders to report to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, to process and deploy out to Saudi Arabia, obviously for the invasion into Iraq. So I went out there, I did that, came back when all the major conflict was over, went back to National Guard and had a civilian job for a while. And in 1994, I just said, hey, I think I'd like more structure. So I joined active duty, was stationed in Panama in 1994 with 587 Infantry. That's when we wound up getting a lot of Cuban migrants trying to leave Cuba. And we had the camps over there that there was 4 camps, 2,200 people each. And on the same day, 3 of the 4 camps all rioted, and we had to go in, and it was about 500 of us versus 2,200 Cubans. So we got busted up pretty good in that. I left that, went to Fort Lewis, Washington, then Schofield Barracks. Then I got Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. Left Schofield Barracks early to go to report to Fort Drum to go to Bosnia. So I was in Bosnia during the Kosovo invasion. Returned back from that, went to Korea. Then from Korea, September 11th happened. And I came back from Korea when we were prepping to go into Kuwait to invade Iraq for Iraqi freedom. So I had just got back from Korea, and they're like, we're going overseas again. So I was there for the invasion into Iraq, the second invasion into Iraq as well. I was honorably discharged out of the military in 2004, and I immediately started work for State Department as a diplomatic bodyguard. My first detail was President Hamid Karzai, and then after that, I was transferred to the embassy to work visiting VIPs. So I've met John McCain, Hillary Clinton, Condoleezza Rice, Donald Rumsfeld, and then from there I protected the ambassador. I stopped doing that after about 18 months in Afghanistan. I was a bodyguard at Microsoft for Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer for about a year. And then after that, I went and returned back to Iraq with the State Department as a diplomatic bodyguard for about 5 years before I stopped doing that.
So you've had a very, very deep breadth of experience. We'll get back to Shreveport in a second, but you and I moved to Shreveport area about the same time, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
So Emma, how did you get into, singing and performing? And it's always an interesting story hearing how an artist gets started.
Right. So when I was around, I don't know, ever since I was before I could speak, I was just always, singing, humming, whatever. And then my parents just realized, whoa, she can kind of hold out a note. And then as I got older, I gradually just music became my life. And I just started singing and performing, and it's just really gone from there.
Awesome. Awesome. I like the flag in the background too.
Thank you.
We have Greg Washington coming in
Yep,
now. He's
yep.
one of the actors, and he's
Awesome,
also a
awesome.
veteran.
Oh, cool. I'm going to bring him in right now. Hey, we're doing this this is the great thing about OMR. We're just super gummy. We're moving through.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. There is Mr. Washington. Hey, Greg, how are you doing?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm savage. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So I've been talking to Danny and Emma about their background. Are you a Shreveport native?
Not a native, but I've definitely been here long enough to say I live in Shreveport.
All right. So it's a small world, Greg. I was in the Shreveport area the same time Danny was for about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
I remember the GM plant out in, West Shreveport, right on the Texas border. A lot of dads worked there. Yeah.
Sure.
We're talking about Straughns and Merles. We'll get into all that in a minute, but not to put you on the spot, but I'd like to be, curious about your military journey. I joined the Marine Corps from actually the Bossier Marine Corps office, but it was from Shreveport. Yeah.
Yeah. I joined the Army in 2000. I was in for 8 years. I was a combat medic with a forward surgical team. It was great.
Are you one of those water socks Motrin guys, Greg?
Yes.
Tell you what, we had we had docs in the Marine Corps, and I was told a gallon of water, extra socks, and 800 milligrams of Motrin will cure just about anything.
Anything.
Really, okay. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to the actors and performers from the short film and a longer film. It's my understanding this is a short film for this film contest with Louisiana Prize Fest. I get that right?
Yeah, the Prize Fest. The film part is called the Louisiana Film Prize, but they have different categories. They have fashion, food, comedy, film, music. So yes.
And you all were able to enter, and it's really like not easy to get into. It's like 20 films that get to vie for this. So you all had to, make this short film, but do it in a way that got these people's attention. And I have not seen it yet. Paula Ann, you wouldn't let me see it, but hearing about it, I was instantly taken in, and especially like I was telling, Emma and Danny, Greg, is, up here in the Northeast where I live now, when you say Louisiana, it's New Orleans first, then Baton Rouge, Shreveport. What's that? Is that a town?
Exactly.
We're the redheaded stepchild up here, right? Just getting beat down. So, we're going to have a little bit of Shreveport talk in there, but, I kind of want to get your guys' take now. What did one, how did this get started? And then two, what did this mean for you all being a part of this? So we'll start with Danny first. How did this really come to fruition from an idea in your mind to, I'm going to make a screenplay and start getting this down?
I'd say probably, when I lost my two brothers that I served with in February, 2 weeks of each other. And that's when I thought I have to do something more. As actors, we have an obligation to tell a story. And sometimes it's a good story, sometimes it's a bad story, sometimes it's a funny story, sometimes it's a sad story. But at the end, there should always be some sort of lesson. And that's what I was going with on this, is that there's a lesson for everybody in here, whether you served or in the military, whether you didn't. There's something that you can get from this movie. And I just really hope it reaches a lot of people, especially the people that need to see something like this to get the strength to ask for help if they need it.
So for Greg and Emma, Danny makes this and asks you to be a part of it. What's it been like? Because you can't really see what actors and actresses do, right? I can't see what you do, Emma, when you perform, but I get to experience it. So what's that been like, giving of yourself to this project?
I think it came along in perfect timing. I think, last year started the strong push towards mental health, with everyone being in the house. I feel like everyone got to understand what deployment was like by having to keep their ass home because of COVID.
I didn't mind it that much. It wasn't a big deal to me.
But you have certain types that don't mind. They're like, no, I love being by myself. This is great. But then you have other people that are going stir crazy about it. And, it started like, I was reading tons of like, oh, mental health. And I was just like, man, imagine what it's like being in the desert. So, you have the juxtaposition, and we also, story, something that came up while we were doing our first table read was, one of our actresses was like really in the moment of, having to understand what it's like to see a child, come up to a fob and then get kicked right out after the medics deal with it. And they're like, all right, get the fuck out. And, everyone on the Zoom call is shocked and shaking their head no. And I'm sitting there like, I don't give a shit. And she was like, why is that your reaction? And I was like, because I was that guy. I didn't care. After you start dealing with them, you're just like, nah, you're all kind of pieces of shit. And she couldn't understand that. Like her face looked so shocked that I would say that. And I was like, that's just how I feel. So then you really start thinking about your own mental health. Like, man, how am I still that guy so many years later? But I don't know. I mean, anything, I think I read something today that said, you never rise to your expectations. You just fall to your level of training. And I think that's, something that sticks. And so it was really nice to portray that.
No. I can certainly commiserate. I didn't serve in Afghanistan. I was not a combat veteran. Certainly talked with enough and had experiences, lost people while I was serving. Peacetime deaths were really kind of tough, especially when they're preventable. but enough about that. You know, as a civilian, Emma, you're asked to join this. What was that like, hearing this stuff firsthand and trying to frame your performance to support what's being done here?
Right. Well, when you see the movie, you'll really understand when I say that it's devastating. And I'm 16. I've only really experienced a small part of the real world. And just hearing these stories and what these veterans and people just go through, it's awful. And being able to sing a song has been really amazing. Just, thinking, how can I help?
Yeah. So Danny, you get this opportunity to create this and then put it up against other films in this contest. And I'm looking at the website, and it's not, like you said, it's not just movies, there's other things going on there. And all kidding aside, sometimes Shreveport gets a bad rap. I live there and I know of what I speak, but what's it like presenting this to that part of the country and being able to know that your work was thought of and regarded so well that we're going to put up against a limited set of people who've also done excellent work?
Well, I gotta be honest, it's extreme honor. As a matter of fact, when I was at the announcement, we're all sitting there, out there, and I think I just got back from getting a drink, and I really wasn't paying attention. And then they said, what they do is they announce the name of the movie, and then they show a small clip with no sound, just the film part. And they said, "We got your 6." And I'm like, that sounds familiar. Who did that? And then I look at the screen and I see Greg's face, because they were showing a clip of Greg. I'm like, oh, that's my film. Oh, I better get up there and go give it. So I was actually shocked. I'm definitely honored to be part of it. Unfortunately, with this film, it also kind of makes me vulnerable, because it kind of shows another side of me, because these are all true stories. Now, some of them were donated to me, and some of them actually happened to me, but it kind of shows, the inside of me that I've always, and we're all military, we don't show emotions, regardless of whatever it is, you don't show emotion. And then with this, I definitely am showing emotion, and what it's like on the inside. And it's kind of something that I feel vulnerable when people see it, is, I guess, the best way to explain it.
Well, one of the things I know is just looking at your career, Greg and Danny, is, this isn't make believe. This is like real, and it's not real in the fact that I've got a gun for a prop. Like, you're talking about stuff that either, and I have not seen the film, but that being said, is I understand that when you're talking about this stuff, you've taken that phone call. You've had that person in front of you saying, you know what, I can't do this anymore, or why can't I get out of the mode I'm in? And you're trying to help them out. So there's a real personal component to here that you're bringing. Do you have any idea how this is going to be received by people when they see it? I mean, I'm just, I'm not saying you got to spill the beans, but I'm just curious if you've got any kind of advanced reaction to it.
So far, everybody that's seen it is they can't watch it without crying. Is basically, Emma, were you emotional when you watched it?
When I watched the movie, I definitely cried, and I did watch it a few times, and each time it definitely had me choked up or just crying. Just, yeah.
And I think that's a good thing, because that's something that sticks with you. And I want people to remember this, especially the veterans. The big thing now, and like, I don't know how the Marine Corps was, but Greg, you were in, while I was in, and if you tried to claim some sort of mental health, automatically your clearance was taken away. If you needed a clearance for your job, now you can't do your job. You're banned from reenlistment, banned from promotion, banned from any favorable activities until you get better. But it's not a punishment, is what they would tell you. But it sure does sound like one. I think it was in 2008 when they stopped taking away your clearance. But so you got generations of soldiers going back to World War II that were always told, you don't claim mental health. If you do, you're weak. And what this movie is trying to now let the veterans know, look, that's not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of strength. It's a sign of you saying there's something wrong. I need to fix it.
Well, even after they get out, I talked to so many people in law enforcement or first responders who, like you said, are scared to death to tell their boss, hey, something that happened to me 5 years ago when I was in is affecting me now. I need help because, I want your badge, I want your gun, you're done. And they know they're done at that point in time. In custody cases, it's brought up and used all the time. It's just a bad scene. And, we had some Desert Storm veterans when in my unit, when, I was in Yuma, and, they were watched quite closely. And for the reason is, hey, over in Iraq, he had an incident. That's what we were told. And so the challenge has to be is, hey, I know you need help. You need help. It's okay to ask. Is that what you're trying to get to? That it's just okay to ask. We're there with you when you ask.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And trying to encourage them to at least talk about it so it doesn't stay very deep down inside and they build and build and build. So if they could talk about it, talk about whatever they want, but, definitely if you want help, ask, call. And that's one thing that you'll get from this is that it's the veterans that really help each other. Everyone I've known that has sought help and got it and prevented them from harming themselves, none of them called a counselor. They all called, another veteran, or they reached out on Facebook, or whatever. And we reach out to each other. We are brothers and sisters, and we reach out to, and, I'll sit there and check on some of my friends from time to time. Hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. You okay? And sometimes I'll get a response that it's not good. So I just sit there and try and talk to them. And when that happens, they calm down a little bit and they're still around. They haven't done anything yet. And I'm really, I'm always going to be there for them. Just like if I need somebody, if I need to call Greg, I know there's no doubt in my mind, Greg will take a phone call for me if I call him.
Absolutely.
Just as long as Greg doesn't give me any shots, we're going to be fine.
Steady hand.
He's scaring me to death now. But, Greg, it brings up a point, right, where I've told people, really honestly, the best person to help a veteran is that other veteran, okay. Especially, regardless of what branch you're in, Air Force included,
You're going too far. You're way too far.
Well, we all saw Barksdale, right? I mean, yeah. You go in the Army, you go in the Marine Corps, then you come to Barksdale, and it's like, wait a minute, what?
Right. You got a 9 to 5?
Oh yeah, the air conditioning broke in my room today. I'm very upset. I'm like, we slept out when it was 120 degrees. What are you complaining about? Yeah. But still, there's that camaraderie there that I don't know about you all, but I don't get it anywhere else. I don't get that anywhere else. I've tried. I used to think it was really weird when I'll go in a room and see where the exits are and try to identify if somebody is a threat or not. And I just thought that was normal. So it's going to be really interesting to see this. And we're talking about the film We Got Your Six with Greg Washington, Emma Gutierrez, and actor and writer Denny Zanellotti. Almost got that wrong. I practiced that anyway. Let's talk about Shreveport for a minute. Because Paula sends me this, and I'm like, this is in Shreveport? Get out. Where is this happening in Shreveport? I mean, how cool is this? And it's not the hottest time of the year. I'm glad they did it in like late September, early in October for you all. Where are they doing this?
All downtown on Texas.
Yeah.
Really? Just by the boats or near the convention center?
More towards the church at the end.
So Emma, you got it. I'm chuckling here because Shreveport about 20, 25 years ago built casinos. And where this is at one end, there's just, you know, leads into I-49 in the south end of Shreveport. The other end is a big church. But you can walk like 3 blocks and there's the entire casino strip in the downtown convention center. That's how Shreveport rolls.
Heaven and hell all in one place.
You can lose your money and save your soul, all of, right? So that's good. So this, and it looks like this is like a big event. Like I saw like the VIP pass is like $350 and you get to do all this cool stuff. So there's a lot of people going to be able to see your work. I mean, how, you know, what's going through your minds with that? Because it's not just like a small showing. They've got a big deal going on for a couple days.
Yeah, but also one cool thing is that even if your listeners can't get to Shreveport, they can also watch and vote for best film and best performer online. So regardless, yeah, if you go to pricefest.org, you can buy an online ticket, watch the films, and with this festival, it's one of the few that the audience votes on the best to who wins best film and best performer. By the way, I just want to drop this real quick. Greg got was nominated best actor for my film. You know I was going to bring that up. So he did an awesome job. I'm so happy.
Greg, why aren't you doing it? Greg, there's no reason to be shy here, Greg.
Everyone was so great in the film that when Danny sent me the message, I was like, is this a joke? And then I looked it all up and I was like, it's not a joke. Wow, thank you.
Actually, one thing I'm extremely proud of is Greg was nominated best actor for, they take one person out of each film. And so you have one nomination. But Tanya, who plays a female veteran, she did awesome. She was nominated best actress for another short film that she was in, because she did two films for Film Prize this year. So I have a best actor and best actress nominations out of my cast.
Is there like a best soundtrack category?
I hope
no,
they
there's
get
not. I wish there was, because I'm sure we would get that too.
Well, look, Emma, I've interviewed several artists. Paula can tell you this. You got to come on my show and talk about your career, because it'd be a real honor to have you on for supporting this. So we're in, let's see. So if I remember correctly, at the convention center, you got the horseshoes. It's the horseshoe still there?
Yep.
Yeah. So you got some other boats there, and you're doing this, and there's all this stuff going on around it. I mean, is there a sense of excitement from the cast and crew for doing this? Are you guys getting pumped?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like always the best weekend in Shreveport. It feels like a real city. Like there's so many people, there's so much culture going on, and like it's all happening right in front of you. And then it's always amazing because Monday hits and it's all gone again. Like Shreveport's back to normal.
Yeah.
Actually, are you coming to the premiere, Emma? Are you traveling to Shreveport to see this?
I really want to. I'm gonna really try and make it happen because I would love to be there.
Well, good. I wish Paula had gotten earlier. I might have tried to come down, but maybe next time in your next film we'll do that better. But you know, I just think it's great because, you know, all joking aside, you know, I think it's good for Shreveport to see that they do support the arts and culture. I explain to people that, you know, Louisiana, you know, the Louisiana Hayride, the Red River Revel, all those things we grew up with were all about, you know, the arts and culture. If you were a guy, like my parents maybe played the piano growing up in that part of the country, that was just accepted, okay? And, you know, whereas up here, you're kind of looked at differently, you know, it's just the way it is. But down there, a football quarterback for Byrd High School would take piano lessons, and that was just considered, you know, hey, that's just the way it goes. It's the way it goes. So before we wrap this up, a little bit more Shreveport talk. Where's your guys' favorite places to eat? Emma's coming into Shreveport. You want to give her the breath. You've got 3 places: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Go.
Frank's, Rotolo's, and Strong's.
Okay.
God, it's such a hard question to answer. I don't know. I feel like they're all like hole in the walls somewhere that like I couldn't explain. I have to take you so you can experience it.
Well, just try me here, because I mean, strong. All the ones Danny mentioned, I'm like, yep.
Strawn's will never be on my list.
What?
Ever. I actually judge people if they like Strawn's pie. If they're like, "Oh, I love the pie," I'm like, I don't know you. We can't be people.
So if you don't like Strawn's, what do you like?
Locally, I'm a fan of Abby Singer. I'll go ahead and plug that. It's in the Remington Film Center. It's incredible. Chef Trudy is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I should plug Prep Cakes Bakery too, because I might as well do that. It just opened here. It's fantastic. It's all like keto and healthy and ridiculous.
Louisiana Southern cooking is keto friendly. That's
crazy, right?
It's a paradox, right?
So crazy.
If it calls for one stick of butter, that certainly means two.
Oh, what's the place that has the shrimp buster? That place is amazing.
Oh, wait, daggone it.
Right, you know what I'm talking about, though. Like,
yeah, hold on a second.
I would have to round her experience out by taking her to the Centenary Oyster House. It's still open. I think.
Oh yes.
Ooh.
Oyster for sure.
Yeah, because that's good
Herbie
stuff.
Case. Herbie Case.
Yes.
Yes, Herbie Case. Herbie Case is incredible.
Yes. So all right. So look, you know, I'm not saying you got to go this time, but I mean, you're going to be in good company if you do go, Emma. I mean, they're not going to lead you wrong. I had to make sure, but that's good stuff. LSU started off with a big fat 0, of course.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, because I was working on the final cut with this, with whatever free time I had, I have not been able to keep up with the games yet. We just turned in the movie. The turn in was yesterday. I actually turned in Thursday, but the deadline to turn in the final cut, because what they saw was a rough cut. That's how they judged it. To turn in the final cut was yesterday. So unfortunately, I missed that game. I heard about it, but I've been spending any spare time I have working with the final cut and trying to put Emma's song into it in places and stuff.
Awesome. So
I'm actually working on an M. Night Shyamalan film here, so M. Night's gonna actually be there film prize weekend. So crazy.
Really, I got an audition for that one.
Nice.
all right, so you guys are legit actors. I mean, when the time comes, I'll be like, I know those guys. Look at that. This is amazing. And you know, again, I'm going to have the link to the site where you can go and get your online ticket and vote for this. You've got my vote, even though I haven't seen it, no problem at all. This really means a lot to me to have you all here. And it's really encouraging, Emma. I mean, you're 16 years old and you had the wherewithal and empathy to contribute to this in a really meaningful way. It's just been great. I mean, as we close this down, I just want to go around the table here, starting with Greg. I mean, what are you hoping comes out of this?
You know, it's funny because this kind of correlates with today and the anniversary of 20 years ago of, you know, September 11th. I always think about that day, but I also think about the following day where, like, we showed America's a fucking badass country. Like, we all came together as a community and helped each other. I kind of hope, and I've said this tons of times, I hope this is the beginning of a longer conversation about mental health and PTSD and taking care of, you know, a community the same way soldiers take care of each other. You know, I still talk to my battle buddies from years ago, and we're all in contact with each other, and we're all trying to uplift each other all the time. So I hope that is what comes out of this.
Awesome. Emma, what about you?
I'm thinking the exact same thing. I just really hope that there's more awareness for these veterans and as well as mental health and PTSD, and we can all kind of come together and be there for each other.
Thank you. Danny?
Again, the same thing. My main thing is trying to get the word out to veterans and soldiers that look, it's not weakness if you ask for help. You know, just get the help, talk to somebody, you know, even for police officers and firemen, EMTs, because I was also a police officer after I stopped being a bodyguard. And you'd be surprised, some of these guys that, you know, they go into a house and try to open up a bedroom door, come to find out they can't because there's a 4-year-old dead body behind it, you know. And it's that stuff that you need to talk about. And by walk around acting like you're okay, you're really not. You're hurting yourself and you're hurting your team. Get the help that you need and just get back into the fight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm Travis with Oscar Mike Radio. I have Greg Washington, Emma Gutierrez, and Danny Zanalotti. Got that right, finally. I tried so hard. And they have this film going on for the Louisiana Prize Fest. I'll have the link in the show post. And I'm looking forward to seeing the film. I'm looking forward to talking with them further. They've all done great work. And, you know, this is the kind of thing I like about Oscar Mike Radio's team, to tell these stories. So I want to thank you all for your time today. And yeah, we're recording this on September 11th. And, you know, I got to tell you, it seemed kind of fitting to do this on this day. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
For having me, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, as we say in Oscar Mike Radio and Hawk, because I was a Hawk operator, we are missile in flight. And Oscar Mike Radio, we are mission in flight. Thanks again. Get to the link, get your e-ticket, and vote.